Hello everybody, and welcome back, where we are picking up from the last video, where I went ahead and set up this little kitchen scene. Now, the astute-eyed among you will have realized that some of my kitchen assets are in fact from a paid asset pack. That's because I want to discourage you from laying out the exact same kitchen. I want you to go find your own free assets that you can use to fill out this room however you wish. So, one of the ways we are going to encourage individuality is through the use of Quixel Megascans. To find Quixel, all you have to do is open up a web browser and Google Quixel, or go to Quixel.com, which, as it says right here in bold white letters, is unlimited use with Unreal Engine. That's great because we happen to be using Unreal Engine, so all you have to do is go into the top right profile and log in with your Epic Games account. Mine is tied to my ETSU email, but I encourage all of you to use a personal email. Once you've gone and done that, simply go to Products and go to Megascans and browse Megascans. Now that'll take a little bit to load, but once it does, you'll be greeted with this little pop-up that says that they're moving to Fab. Fab is Unreal's new marketplace, which is coming in October of 2024, which will combine the Epic Marketplace and the Quixel Marketplace. So some of the information in this video may be a little bit outdated, but I imagine that everything will have its place and that the overall process will be largely unchanged. So for now, let's go back to Quixel Megascans and close our little plugin, and let's explore the Megascans. Now these Megascans are highly detailed 3D assets or 2D surfaces. So if we go ahead and scroll through the 3D asset tabs, you can see a bunch of objects, and if we click on any of them at random, we can go ahead and download this asset. So let's go ahead and find some stuff to spruce up our level. To start with, I think I'm going to go find some stairs. Let's go stairs. See what we find. A little modular staircase. We're going to go ahead and hit download, and that will start downloading. Let's also go ahead and pick a marble that feels like it would match our little kitchen countertop. Let's zoom in, give it a good look. So it's black with white. Alright, let's go back to Quixel Megascans. Let's go find a marble. Let's go a polished marble. And let's go with this black one. Sure, why not? We'll go ahead and download that. Maybe not at 8K resolution, let's bring that down a bit. Let's go 2K. There we go. And let's also go ahead and find something that will spruce up our walls a little bit, because they're currently this very flat gray. Let's go ahead and maybe find some wood. Let's go ahead and see what we can find here. We'll go for some planked wood for the floors. Worn wooden planks sounds good. Download that. And we should, let's see what we can find if we just type in wall. We can, let's check the 3D assets tab, replace our walls with full brand new brick walls or wooden walls. Actually, that's incredibly tempting. But let's instead go for a texture. Let's go to surfaces and see what they offer us. Yeah, let's go for some wooden walls. Find something that matches the other wooden planks that we just grabbed. Oh, I like these. Yes, these please me very much. We'll go ahead and download those. Alright, now all of those are downloading. That'll take a bit, so I'll come back as soon as those are done. Alright, all of my Megascans have downloaded, and we have these zip folders, so all I'm going to do is go ahead and extract them into my downloads folder. There we go. And now we're going to go ahead and dive through these. So let's go ahead and start with our wooden planks. Let's go ahead and pop those open, and I'm going to change my view to icon so that we can see what we're dealing with. Now each of these surfaces, remember these are our 2D surfaces, have a collection of textures which we are going to import into Unreal. So let's go ahead and go back to our Unreal project. Here we are. We're going to open up our content browser, and we're going to make a new folder. Right-click in the content browser, and make a new folder. And we're going to name this Textures. We're going to double-click that Textures folder, and now we're in here. I'm also going to go ahead and click this Dock and Layout button so that we get a window we can use. Alright, now we're going to go back to my Downloads folder, and I'm going to drag some of these files in here. Now I don't care about this JSON file, but I do care about the albedo, the AO, the normals, and the roughness. So I'm going to go ahead and hold Control and select those 4 files and drag them in. Straight into my content browser, and now I've imported them into Unreal. But you'll see we have this little asterisk, which means we need to save. So we'll go to File and Save All, and that asterisk disappears. So now we have those 4 textures. I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder, and I'm going to name this planks_1. And then I'm going to go ahead and select all of those textures again, and drag them in there. Move here. There we go, they are now in my planks1 folder. I'm going to go back to my downloads directory. I'm going to go back to my downloads. Let's open up our other planks, planks2. Let's go ahead and open up our icons again. We'll select the same 4 files. Whoop. Albedo, AO, normals, and roughness. Hold Control to select them all. Drag them in. Save all. And we'll make a new folder. This will be planks2. And we'll drag those in here. Up. And now lastly we have our marble to import. So one more time, downloads, marble. And this one has less textures. Let's go large icons again. We've got only an albedo and a roughness map. We'll drag those in. Save all. Right-click new folder, marble. Ooh, marble. Let's go ahead and rename that. Right-click rename, and delete the W. There we go. And we'll put those in there. Good, so those are all of our textures imported. Now we're going to come back to our content folder, make another new folder, and this one I'm going to name Materials. And we'll understand why I'm making that folder here in a bit. Let's go back to our textures folder, and let's pick one of our planks. Let's start with planks2. Now this is the one that I wanted to put on my walls, so if you attempt to drag this texture onto one of your walls, there we go, it has loaded in. But you'll notice that it has created a material asset. If I go ahead and double click this, we are taken to this window, which should look slightly similar to the hypershader from back when we were working in Maya. Let's go ahead and move this window over here, just so we can see what we're working with. So, this material node controls what is being shown on this wall. What we're going to do here is we're going to drag in our remaining 3 textures into this window, and this will allow us to make this material a little prettier. Let's go ahead and leave our room for a bit, come over here, and let's go over to the well-lit floor of this box. We're going to go ahead and drag our material we just made onto it so we can see what we're working with. So we've got our material editor and our block of wood. Let's start putting our material together. First off, to navigate the material window, all you have to do is hold right click to click and drag the window and use the mouse wheel to scroll. And of course we can click these little nodes and drag them around as we wish. So first up the top, our base color is our albedo texture. Then our next one, this mono white one, is our AO, which stands for ambient occlusion. We'll put that down here, plug that in. This gray texture is our roughness, which we will plug into roughness. And then lastly is our normal map, which is this blue texture, which we will plug into normals. Now before I plug that in, I'm going to go ahead and hit apply, and that will update our texture. You can see that now it's a little bit more reflective. It's got some dings in it. If I go ahead and plug in our normal map, and then hit apply one more time, then now it looks like we've got these ridges carved in between our planks. And if we zoom out, it feels like a much more put together piece of wood, instead of just a flat texture. So now we need to adjust our material so that it fits properly on the object, and that's where we need a little bit of code. What we're going to do is adjust the size of our texture UVs inside of Unreal. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and arrange my little materials over here, and we're going to come over here to the right in the middle of nowhere. And I'm going to right click, and this is going to pop out a little drop down list, and I'm going to type in texture coordinate. Texture C, we're looking for texture coordinate. There we go. And what this is going to allow us to do is to change the scale of our UVs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull off of this, and I'm going to type component mask, there we go. And by default it is set to red and green. I want to make 2 copies of this node, one red one and one green one. And what that does is it effectively isolates the X coordinate and the Y coordinate of our UVs. It just happens to use R for X and G for Y. Now that we've done that, we want to multiply our UVs by some amount. So I'm going to hold the M key and click, and that's going to give me a multiply node. Go ahead and copy that down here. And then finally we're going to right click and type append. And we're looking for append vector. And then we're just going to plug these 2 back together. And then we're going to plug in this number down at the back to all of our texture coordinates where it says UVs. So we'll just go ahead and plug those all in. And now what we can do if we hit apply is we can change these numbers to change the scale of the wood on our object. So if, for instance, I type in 5 for X and hit apply, now there's a lot more planks going horizontally. Same thing if I type in 5 for Y. Now they're a lot shorter, and we've got a little bit more tiling. Now, so that we don't have to save and apply this every time, what we're going to do is we're going to hold the 1 key. Oop, not in there. We're going to hold our 1 key inside of our material editor. There we go, and that's going to give me this node which says 0. And I'm going to go ahead and plug that in, copy paste it, and plug that in down here as well. And then we're going to go ahead and right click the 0, and we're going to convert it to a parameter. And now we're going to name these parameters. So parameter 1 is going to be X underscore scale. And our bottom one, we're going to right click, convert to parameter, Y underscore scale. Woo! I accidentally added in a comment, my bad. One more time, Y underscore scale. There we go. And now I have my X and Y scales, and I want to make sure that this default value is 1. And now we have the ability to change those material UVs whenever we want. So now I'm going to save this. I'm going to go ahead and close my material. I'm going to come down here. I want to rename my material. This is M for material underscore planks 1. Oh no, this is planks 2, my bad. And then we're going to go ahead and drag our planks 2 into our materials folder, just to keep everything organized. Let's come back here. And now let's talk about adjusting this material on the fly. What we're going to do is we're going to right click our material, and we're going to go up to the top where it says create material instance. We're going to go ahead and click that, hit enter, and now we have this material which is named mplanks2 underscore instance. We're going to go ahead and drag that onto our wooden plank. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and pop it open. Now this is a different material interface than the one we had before, and it's a lot more simple, and the reason for that is because we have an instance. And what this allows us to do is to click these 2 little buttons, which are our X scale and Y scale parameters we made in our master material, and we can adjust these, and it'll automatically update the texture on the piece it's set to. So now that we have this material instance, let's go look back at our wall. Whoop, come in here. Here's our wall with this material. Let's go ahead and reapply the instance. Let's go ahead and slap that on every wall up here. One at a time. And we can actually see that some of the walls are in fact horizontal and some of them are vertical. Now we need to adjust our material settings so that we don't have 800 planks of wood. Let's go ahead and crank this back down. Let's try 0.5. That seems reasonable. Let's do 0.5 in Y as well. Good, all of these planks look fine. Now we need to rotate all of our back walls 90 degrees. Make sure that they are vertical. Oh, don't have my snap on. Turn that back on. Rotate all of these around. There we go. And now we have these nice wooden walls in our level. Good, let's also go ahead and do the same thing for our wooden floor. What we're going to do is I'm just going to right-click MPlanks 2 and duplicate it. Change the name from MPlanks 3 to MPlanks 1. Open that up. And now this is a duplicate of MPlanks 2, but we need to replace all of our textures. So we're going to go back to Content, Textures, MPlanks 1, and we're going to swap these textures out for these ones. So I'm going to go ahead and click my albedo node. Then down here where it says texture, drag in the correct texture. Let's make this window a little smaller. Drag in the right texture. There we go. That'll update. Same thing with our roughness. Same thing with our normals. Same thing with our albedo. Our AO rather. There we go. Save that. And we'll apply planks 1 down here on the floor. So content, materials, planks 1. Let's also go ahead and make a material instance. And we can readjust these X and Y as well. So we'll go ahead and click both of those. Throw this material on the ground. There we go. Let's go ahead and slap that on every floor. There we go. One at a time. And now it looks a little bit repetitive, so let's go ahead and change our UVs so that that's not quite the case. Now you can see that if we change the X direction, it stretches horizontally, and it stops lining up as well with the piece immediately to the right. So we need to keep a very close eye on the seam to make sure that the planks aren't clipping into each other. Let's go ahead and try 0.5. That feels fine. Let's go ahead and change our 1 as well. Let's go ahead and do 0.5 again. These are fairly large planks of wood actually. Let's go ahead and change it to 2, see how that looks. Oh, not great. 1.5, 5.5. Feels okay. Good. So now we've applied material to our floors and our walls. We can also go ahead and copy our floors to our ceilings. Let's go ahead and come up here. Re-grab our content browser. Oop, come back. Go back to my materials, blank 1. Let's pull back my content browser. There we are. Let's go back to our materials folder and re-drag our instance everywhere it's necessary. There we go. So now we have our house. Our room looks a little bit better. Let's go ahead and import in our stair. So we're going to go ahead and file save everything. And we're going to put our stair over here. So we're going to go ahead and delete the old one. Delete all of those brushes where we're going to be putting in the stair. Now let's go ahead and open up our downloads folder and take a look at our stair. Inside of our stair folder, we have quite a few more files than we did with just our models. We've got 3 different albedo maps, depending on our LOD, which stands for level of detail. We've got the default, and then LOD4 and LOD5. We also have a bunch of normals, same thing, depending on our LOD. And then lastly, we have all of these FBX files, depending, once again, on our LOD. So let's start by testing out which of these pieces is correct. So we're going to come very quickly back to Unreal. We're going to go to our content folder, right-click, make a new folder, and I'm going to name this Stair. Let's go ahead and import in all of those FBXs into this folder. Actually, just to be safe, I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to name this LOD0. And in here, I'm going to import just the LOD0 staircase. And we're going to be presented with this window, and I'm going to click Import All. And let's see what's in there. No smoothing groups, that's fine, but we do in fact have several pieces of mesh inside each of these FBXs, so that's one thing to watch out for. So let's go ahead and pop these open. We can take a look at all of these stair pieces. LOD0, very low level of detail, very low polygon count. So let's go ahead and pick something a little bit more in the middle. Let's go ahead and delete LOD0. And let's choose something a little bit higher. I'm going to go with LOD3. Drag that in, import all, close this, and see what we're working with. A little bit better, a little bit crisper. Let's take a look at the railing. Sure, let's work with this. Alright, so we've imported our models. Now let's go ahead and build our new staircase. So we've got this landing in the middle, I assume, which we are going to position above our first flight of stairs. Let's go ahead and drag those in. Oh, wrong asset. There we go. Rotate these stairs around so that they're facing the right way. Stick them up against the wall. Oh, not in the wall. Let's add in a light, see if we're flush against the wall. Definitely are not. Let's turn off our snap. Push these in a little farther. There we go. Let's go ahead and do 2 flights. So hold Alt, drag in a copy, drag these over here, line them up appropriately. There we go. See how that looks. Make sure that we don't have any gaps in between them. Looks fine to me. Let's move our light underneath, just in case. Well, they're not lined up quite properly, so we'll go ahead and bring this down. A little bit lower. A little bit this way. There we go. So this is our first portion of our stairs. We'll go ahead and move these back. We've got our landing to put in the corner. So we'll go ahead and drag this up. We want to line this up with the top of our stairs. We already know the X value we need, so we're going to go ahead and select this staircase. Copy the X value. Come to our stair, or our landing, paste that in. Interesting. Oh, you know what it is? I forgot we rotated the staircase. So we're going to go ahead and just rotate the platform 90 degrees, and now it matches up. Good. So now we just need to move our landing down, line that up with the top of the staircase. Might be better to do that in an orthographic view. Let's go ahead and pop one open, hit F. See what we're dealing with. Top of the stairs lines up about there. Alright. Let's move all 3 of these pieces over into the corner. Make sure that we're flush against the wall. Don't want any light bleeding through. There we go. And then we'll add one more flight of stairs going up to the second floor. Rotate this around 90 degrees. Stick it over here. Bring it on down. Line it up to the landing. I assume that the bottom is supposed to line up there. Sure. Alright, let's move our little light source. Make sure we're not getting any bleed through. Doesn't look like it. Oh, we are getting a bit of bleed between the landing and the first staircase. That seems to have solved it. Up and to the left a little. There we go. See if that has bugged up the wall. It sure has. Need to move the whole staircase over this way. Oh, not that much. There we go. And now let's come back around. This looks fine. Need to add a few more steps to reach here. Let's see if we have individual steps. I don't believe we do. Let's go back to our staircase. Take a quick look. None of these seem to be individual steps, unless this is very lucky. Nope, that is a post. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to simply add in another copy. And we're going to have to intersect some of these a bit. Let's see how close we can get. I think we need to lose 2 steps. So we'll come in here, and we'll line it up as well as possible with the second step. There we go. And we're going to get a little bit of a texture problem, but we have successfully reached the second floor. Let's go ahead and give that a little playtest. Hit play. Let's go ahead and actually make this full screen. Let's go ahead and... oh, we have some difficulty climbing these stairs. That tends to happen with Megascans. Let's go ahead and double check the stairs collision. So we're going to go ahead and open up our content browser, double click our stairs asset, and we're going to go to show and collision, simple collision. Let's see what we're dealing with. And we've got this big green block that is keeping us from going up the stairs. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and turn on complex collision, and we can see those little yellow, and we can see those little blue triangles. We'd rather use those, so we're going to scroll down here, and where it says collision complexity, we are going to change project default to use complex as simple. And now those are purple. We'll turn off our show collision. We'll save. We also need to double check our plank. So we're going to go ahead and pop that one open. Let's double check our collision. That one looks fine. Alright, let's give this another play now that we've fixed the collision. And we can now properly walk up the stairs, but I do happen to bump my head against our potted plant. Unfortunately, for Potty the potted plant, our little alcove no longer exists, so you will have to be deleted. Alright, we now have a staircase. Let's go ahead and give it some railings. We'll pop back in here, and we'll drag in our railing asset. Rotate it 90 degrees, and line it up with the bottom of our staircase. See how that looks. Come back here, line it up that way. Seems good. Drag out a copy. Line it up with the next bit. Seems good. Oh, not quite connected. We'll drag it back a bit. There we go. And then 1.5 copies for the upper railing. So rotate out a copy. Drag it up. Rotate it around. Make sure that it's flush up against the staircase. Seems good. Let's take a look at the intersection. Not very pretty, but we can fix that with one of the pillars. Let's go ahead and drag out another copy. Oop, there we go. And we want to intersect it just so that it reaches the second floor. Let's go. Not a huge fan of having to pull back, but we can add a pillar so it ends up looking fine. Alright. So I'm trying to line up these posts as well as possible. They're in groupings of 2, which I believe means I either need to go here, in which case we end up going a little bit higher, or we go 1 lower. I think I'm going to go higher. I think this is fine. So we'll go thereabouts. Alright, and now our stair has railings. Let's go ahead and add in some corner posts. So we'll go ahead and drag one in for up here. Line that up with the top of the stairs. Shove it down a bit into the wood. Push it in here. There we go. Add one to the corner of the staircase over here. See what I can get. Line that up in here. Looks fine. No. A little bit more in. There we go. I want it to line up perfectly halfway in the post. Same thing up here, actually. There we go. Alright, so that is that corner post, and one for the bottom. There we go. Line that up. Works for me. Alright, all of the posts are lined up. Now it's time to give them a material. So they all by default have this material ID _1. I'm going to go ahead and rename that M_stair. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and drag that into my materials folder and pop it open. And now we need to drag in our material textures from our downloads folder. So we're going to go ahead and Control Spacebar to pull open our textures folder. Here we are. And let's drag in the textures we need from our downloads folder. We went with LOD 3, so we'll grab this normal map. Hopefully that has pulled in. Yes, there it is. Alright, we also want our roughness map, and we want our default albedo. We don't want the LOD 4 or 5 textures. So we'll drag those in. And here all 3 are. We'll go ahead and give them a new folder, stairs, and put the textures in there. Very good. Now we've got all 3 of our textures in here. We'll drag them into the stair material, and we'll plug them in as necessary. We'll delete this parameter node, and replace it with our albedo. Then we'll grab our roughness node, plug that into roughness, and then finally our normals into normals, and we'll hit save. Now let's take a look at our staircase, and it is wonderfully textured, just as we liked. And it happens to match our choices of wood. Perfect. Now we've got one final material which we chose, which was our marble material, so let's go ahead and quickly make a material for that. Open up our content browser, come back to our materials folder, make a new material. Let's go ahead and duplicate our planks 1 material. Name this M_marble. and we'll go ahead and drag in our 2 marble materials in here. So our albedo becomes our content textures, marble texture albedo, and roughness. So we'll plug that one in here, and our roughness below it. We'll go ahead and delete these. Plug in our marble color and our marble roughness. Plug those into our UV adjustments. And now I have a marble texture, which at the moment has a little bit of wood UVs. You can see the stripes of the planks of wood on my marble texture. Let's go ahead and unplug my normals and my AO so that stops being the case. I now have this nice polished marble, and I think I'm just going to apply that on the bottom floor. Let's go ahead and decorate that parlor a little bit, because we previously had this little glass statue down here. So I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of it by holding Alt, dragging it over here, and I'm going to go ahead and make this statue a marble statue. Pop. So now I have 1 marble statue and 1 glass statue. And in fact, if I really wanted to, I could go ahead and replace the material on any of these objects with any of these materials, and we can go ahead and adjust them. So let's go ahead and slap marble on the little table, and I have a marble table. Now what we'd like for you to do is to upgrade your simple rooms using assets you import from the Unreal Marketplace, Quixel Megascans library, or Fab if that's already been put to motion. You are not required to rebuild your room from scratch, but more power to you if you do so. What will not be accepted is if you use a pre-built room like those present in some of the asset packs, such as that kitchen I showed you when we were building our archive. With that out of the way, best of luck upgrading your rooms, and I'll see you in the next module.